Welcome back for another Entitled Parent video. Today we have 4 Entitled Parent stories for you to enjoy. As always, don't forget to share and like if you enjoy these videos. Without further ado, here we go. A transgender guy doesn't need to go to the gynaecologist, he's just here to spy on girls. So as usual, I'll be me, EM is entitled mother and D is her daughter. A little backstory, I am a 19-year-old male and I live with my parents. I was born female but began transitioning 6 years ago. I'm on hormone and I have a beard and my top surgery, so if people didn't know me before my transition, they don't know I'm transgender. I've been with my boyfriend for 3 years now. As a transgender male, I still have to go to the gynecologist and it's a really uncomfortable moment for me. But I've been going to the same one for more than a year and it always went well until last week. Normally my boyfriend comes with me, but he had something come up, so he couldn't go with me last week. I could always ask a friend to come with me, but I thought it would be alright. Oh boy, how I was wrong. My appointment was at 1, but because I had something to do before that took less time than expected, I ended up in the waiting room at 12:30. The room was quite full, so I had to sit down to a lady that was waiting there with her daughter. The clinic I go to has 2 gynecologists working there, and I had an appointment with one of them, but the lady sitting next to me had an appointment with the other. Since it was a really busy day, some people there had been waiting for quite a long time. The lady sitting next to, who is EM, started talking to me, and I quickly realized she was under the assumption that I was waiting there for my girlfriend, or that my girlfriend was already with a doctor. I can totally understand why she made that assumption, and I didn't really want to correct her and have to explain everything. EM started to talk to me about how a great kid her daughter was, and to be honest, it wasn't really interesting, but I didn't want to be rude, so I just listened to her ramble about her daughter's academic performance. I was alright until EM outright asked me when my girlfriend would be there. Here's how the conversation went. EM: so your girlfriend should be done soon, no? We've been waiting for her to finish for a long time. Me: I'm not here with my girlfriend, I'm actually waiting to see a doctor too. EM: what? You are in the wrong place, the doctors here are gynecologists. I know, and I'm waiting to see one. At that point I was extremely uncomfortable because I didn't want to be rude to the lady, but I also didn't want to explain my story to a complete stranger. I could also see that some other people who were waiting were listening to our conversation. EM: you are obviously wrong. This is a doctor for girls only. A freak like you has nothing to do here. You're just here to see girls getting undressed. Me: please leave me alone. I don't have to explain myself to you, and since I have an appointment, I have the right to be here just like you. ED: get out of here. I don't want a weirdo like you to be here. It was the first time ED had talked, and at that point I decided to get up and to wait standing up rather than to stay next to them. Many people in the waiting room were shooting me weird glances and I hated it. EM then got up and walked to me. EM: you heard my daughter, she's uncomfortable with having you here, so if you don't leave in the next 10 seconds, I'm gonna call security. Before I could answer her, my name was called on the intercom and I was so relieved. But when I turned around to go into the appointment room, ED saw the small pin on my backpack. It's a trans pride flag. She must have recognized it because she catched up with her mother who was following me and told her, ED: Mom, it's not a boy, she's transgender. She sounded really proud of herself and I was dying inside. Walking faster to the appointment room, as soon as I got in front of it, EM blocked the door. EM: I won't let a freak like you steal my appointment. Me and my daughter were here before you. Now leave. You have nothing to do here instead of trying to spy on my daughter. You disgusting lesbo. I was really panicking at that point. But just when I was about to leave to avoid a bigger confrontation, a girl from the waiting room and her boyfriend came up. They basically told EM that if she didn't leave me alone and go back to the waiting room without causing more trouble, they would call the security on her. She thankfully listened to them, but not without insulting me a few more times before going back to the waiting room. I was so thankful, and the girl and her boyfriend even apologized to not intervening sooner. They told me that they would make sure she wouldn't try to bother me during my appointment. When I told the doctor what had happened, she actually made sure that after today, EM wouldn't be a client in their clinic anymore. So this is what happened. Thank you very much for reading. EM plays the world's longest game of no homo, tries to get me kicked out of the hospital. This is a story from last summer when my girlfriend was staying at a specialized spinal cord rehabilitation center for physical therapy and to learn how to adapt to her injury. The hospital was several states away and she couldn't use her cell phone or the internet too easily at first. It was really hard for us to keep in touch and I didn't know how she was doing besides occasional social media updates from her parents. So my mother checked with her family and the hospital that it was okay and then arranged for the two of us to stay down there for a week so I could visit regularly before school started again for me. It was a good visit overall, although it was sort of a psychologically rough on me at times because I had to come to terms with what she was dealing with already, that her condition wasn't really changing and we had to adjust to a new normal. It was great to see her and spend time with her for the first time in the 2 months, aside from one unexpected EM encounter. This happened 2 days before I had to head back. I was there around noon and girlfriend asked me to feed her lunch. She was tired of having to rely on her parents or nurses all the time and she figured if we were going to be able to hang out after she came home without a third person with us all the time, I should get some practice in taking care of her. We find a quiet spot away from the rest of the cafeteria and she sort of talked me through it. There were a few spills but I got the hang of it and it went smoothly until we hear the shrill tones of EM. EM: "Oh, I didn't know you had a friend visiting. You know, none of my husband's friends have visited him once." EM was kind of notorious in the rehab hospital. Her husband was in for a spinal cord injury, a level or two lower than girlfriend's, for a reason that sounds ridiculous for a man in his late 40s. A slip and slide was involved, and she acted like she was the only person dealing with something so horrible. When the hospital was literally set up exclusively for people with these injuries in their families, she was constantly whining about how the doctors were useless for not working medical miracles and letting her 2 kids run around the hospital disrupting everyone. Anyway, so girlfriend looks at me with an expression that clearly says, "Here we go again," and we're off. Girlfriend: "Yeah, my girlfriend came to visit me from ... EM: "Oh, it's so important to have girlfriends. Who else are you going to gossip about boys with? I talk to my girlfriends all the time, but I've been really disappointed with their lack of support while my husband is in the hospital." Girlfriend: "Anyway, she's helping me eat lunch and we're almost done, so..." EM to me: "It's so sweet of you to help your friend out like that. It's amazing how self-centered so many people are. I asked my friends to do something to help us out and they are useless." Me: "Girlfriend, actually 7 months." Girlfriend: "Yeah, if we want to go out on dates after I get home, it's kinda important. Don't want my parents tagging along." EM: "Oh, double dates, that's so cute. I bet your boyfriends can't wait to have you back home." Whispers to GF: "I hope he doesn't leave you because he can't handle all of this. So many people are so selfish." I can tell that girlfriend is getting frustrated as she rolls her eyes again. Me: motions to her lips: "Should I..." Girlfriend grins and go for it. I lean in and gave her a long lingering kiss right in front of EM's face. Her face immediately goes white and horrified and she turns around and stomps over to the nearest employee she sees. Nice employee. He's the head of family liaisons, so he had lots of experience with EM, I bet. EM: "You need to do something about this. These 2 girls have been engaging in lewd conduct." NE stares at 2 teenagers, one of whom is a high-level quadriplegic. I kind of doubt that. Girls: "Is everything okay here?" Girlfriend: "Yeah, it's fine. My girlfriend just kissed me," and EM freaks out. EN grins: "Oh, you must be ... Girlfriend's been talking about you for weeks. Nice to finally meet you." EM: "This isn't appropriate. You should kick that girl out. Aren't visiting hours over already?" NE: "Madam, you know we don't have standard visiting hours. She's on an approved list by girlfriend's family and she's just as free to come and go as you are." Well, then at least tell them not to engage in offensive behavior. I have kids running around here and they shouldn't be exposed to that. Actually, I've been meaning to talk to you about that. We're really glad you and your kids are able to be here to support husband, but we've had some complaints about your kids and boundaries. They can't be running into people's room, disrupting them while they're resting. You need to... Excuse me? Their father is paralyzed. They're going through a lot. GF, this is a spinal rehab hospital. Everyone's going through a lot. You mind your own business. And you spend less time berating a struggling mother and more time fixing my husband. She storms off in a huff and the three of us are just left staring. So she seems nice. That's basically it. No cops or dramatic takedowns, and I had to leave in 2 days and didn't encounter her again. I still wonder how long we could have kept stringing her on with the no homo game if we didn't go for the kiss option. Why is no one in this self-service bar serving me? I'm currently at a Polish film festival, and as I'm spending a lot of time on Reddit, I remembered a story that happened here 2 or 3 years back. I was a bystander and witnessed the whole thing. The main cast will consist of EM, entitled mom, ED, entitled dad, PL, poor lady, M, manager. So this festival is kinda busy. Well, the town it takes place in is small and there are lots of people here, especially on weekends. There are many restaurants and bars, and as you can imagine, they happen to be pretty crowded. My dad and I were eating lunch at a bar that had the following system. You go inside, order your food, get a number, then you go outside, sit down, and when your food is done, they'll call your number out of a small window and you go to pick it up. Easy peasy, I thought. Now, it's summer, 30 degrees Celsius. The little room where you order is stuffed full. The ladies in the kitchen are looking like they're about to die. We are sitting next to the food window, so we witnessed the whole thing. Mind, it was a while back, so I don't remember details, but that's about how it went down. PL, the lady who was in charge of bringing the food to the window and shouting out the number, comes and yells, "Number 48, number 48. Klotnit and insert dish that I can't remember, number 48. For y'all who don't live in Poland, klotnit is a cold beet soup. A lot of people order it because, well, it's cold. I don't remember what else was ordered, but this soup is important to the story. No one comes, PL just places the window on the windowsill and goes to tend to the other orders. When she hands out another plate, she looks down at the food that is still on the sill and yells again, "Number 48. But nothing happens. It goes on like this for a few more moments. PL shouts number 48 again and again. Her aura is radiating general fatigue. It must be so hot in the kitchen and she's getting overly frustrated. At some point, EM enters. Turns out she was sitting behind my dad and me the whole time, too busy talking to her husband and son to notice that her number was being called. As I've said, the people are super busy. EM walks up to the window and waits for PL. EM, excuse me, we have been waiting for our lunch for 45 minutes. I don't know if she really had to wait 45 minutes. The place was crowded, admittedly, but I ate there many times, also during the local rush hours, and I never waited that long. PL, what number are you? EM, 48. I don't know how PL stays so calm. I would have punched that bitch for that, especially regarding how pissed she seemed the last few times she yelled the number. PL, that's your order. She points at the food on the windowsill. EM looks a bit distraught, but PL already disappears in the kitchen again, so she mutters something about awful customer service, takes the plates and leaves. Not for long apparently. I hear her son say, "Mommy, this is awful." A moment later, EM is standing by the window again, holding the bowl of soup. PL appears. EM, excuse me, this food is cold. What do you mean? This soup, it's cold. You must have left it outside for too long. It's 30 degrees. If anything, the soup got warmer. Besides, it's klotnik, a soup that's supposed to be cold. Literally, that's the point. It's in the name of the soup. Klotnik is klotno, means cool in Polish. PL, this soup is supposed to be cold. Well, my son wants it warm. Give me a new one, now. Madam, that's not possible. That's when ED comes in with the second plate. ED, this dish is also cold. Again, I don't remember what the other dish was. I guess if it were some pancake or something, they could have indeed gotten a little dry or whatever. PL. Madam, I called your number so many times. This is not acceptable. A place like this should not be selling food. I want 2 fresh meals now. During this conversation, PL wasn't getting any of the other orders out, and I guess that caused a bit of a commotion in the kitchen. So a guy who I will refer to as M, the manager, thought he was only taking orders. I don't know if that place had a manager. He just seemed to have the most power. Comes to the window. Manager, what's the problem here? This woman gave us cold food. PL, I called their number many times. They just didn't pick it up, so it got cold. EM, I'm not doing your job for you. I don't know if she was that stupid or just so entitled, because the system of the bar was pretty clear to anyone with an IQ above room temperature. How did she expect to pay 10 zloty, about $2.50 for the food, and get served like a freaking queen? I don't know how they dealt with the Klosnik incident. I think the kid picked another soup that was supposed to be warm, and EM went through with her cause and got a whole new meal, plus an apology from M. As they leave, I hear EM say, "That's the worst customer service in name of town. We are not coming back here." I believe they did the place a favor by doing so. EM tried to steal a game that I was buying. Cast: EM, entitled mother, EK, entitled kid, me, SE, store employee. So my girlfriend and I are thrift store hunters and flea market hunters. Every weekend we go to a flea markets and thrift stores to find deals and stuff. So on this day we are at the thrift store and I am looking at the music CDs. I typically look for old electronics, movies and video games. I look in the music CDs because you can find old video games mixed in with the CD due to the jewel cases. I see a young boy less than 10 years old looking at the CDs, pulling them out, looking at them and dropping them on the floor. A few CDs starts to pop out of the cases. He has one CD in his hand, a computer game with a picture of a cat on it. I don't remember the game. At this point the kid is walking away from the CDs, leaving it a mess. I get down and start putting them away. One of the items I find in the mess is a cardboard paper case with a CD in it. It is for the Dreamcast and it is the web browser 3.0. For people who don't know, the Sega Dreamcast was Sega's last video game system. It had a 56K modem attached to it, so you could go online. This system came out in 1999 and was one of the first game systems that went online. Near the end of the system's life, it also got an upgrade to broadband adapter, which are extremely rare and can easily go up for $100. Sega also released a web browser for the system. This was 3.0, the last web browser released and the only one that supports the broadband adapter. These are super hard to find as there weren't many produced. They aren't worth much, but not many people would want this, but they are very hard to find. Even eBay rarely sells it. I say to myself a rare game, and I am using the term game loosely as it is mainly just to browse the web in 2001 format. I must have said it out loud because the kid heard me and said, "That's my game, you stole it from me." I look around and find out that he was addressing me. I'm sorry, but you dropped this after pulling it out along with the others here. EK, well, I was going to buy them all and you took the game from me. I'm sorry, but you put them on the floor and walked away, not even cleaning them up. The kid ran away and I thought that was the last of him. I put away the rest of the CDs. I hate how employees would have to clean this up. Plus I wanted to look at them anyways in case I found something else. When a woman, the typical Karen type, comes up to me with the kid. EM, you shouldn't steal that game from my kid. Me, what? I'm sorry, but I picked this CD up when your kid put it back. EM, my kid told me you took this out of his hands and said that you stole that rare game from him. At this point the kid is lying, so I tell her the truth about CD. Me, I'm sorry, but I took the game after your son dropped it on the floor. The CD isn't really a game, it is a web browser from the 2000s for an old game system. EM, don't accuse my son of making a mess, he would never do that. He puts everything back where they belong. You can't take this game, that is worth thousands of dollars. I think to myself, this is not going to end well, and the item is only worth $50 at best. Me, well, whatever you say, I don't care. I start to walk away from her as I didn't want to deal with it anymore and leave when she starts to pull on my arm. EM, I am not done with you yet. At this point she has crossed the line. She looks to be average size, but I am tall and big. I push her away from me and hit her in the chest by mistake, trying to get away from her. This causes her to be pushed back and fall into the clothes behind us. This knocks the clothing rack down and hit at least 4 other racks. Everyone in the store turns to us when she starts yelling, "He assaults me!" I turn to the left and see a store employee next to me. "Madam, you need to leave now before I call security." "No, he assaulted me. I want him arrested." "Madam, I saw the whole thing and have cameras to prove it. Leave before anything else happens." EM, I want to speak to your manager. "I am the manager. Now leave." She was still fighting with the employee who I found out just now was the manager. Another store employee called security during this time. Security took them out. The manager told me that she and her son were infamous around the store and now had a reason to ban her from the property and the other thrift store chain. In the end, I still got my game after paying for it. So those were the stories for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, a like would be highly appreciated. It really does help my channel out. Also, if you enjoy this and want to stay up to date on the latest videos, then don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next video.